Hello and welcome back. Right now we are going to use the second portion of mince. Now, for me, I have to use the mince up fairly quickly because I can't refrigerate. Well, I can refrigerate, but I can't freeze it. So that means I have to use it fairly quick. So I have to use a larger portion than what would normally be to make the meal, simply because I need to get through it. If I go through it at the rate it should be got through, then I'm physically making about 8 meals or more from it, and it will be not eatable at that point. Well into that point. Right now, we're going to make something that you don't get. This is not a 99 pence item you can buy. There is no offering for this item. So we're going to make something different. As we go, we have our mince, so we need to turn on and get that. I have to use my full 125 grams. For you, this recipe is designed for 60 grams, so half the mince I have to use. That's what it's calculated, because that makes up about the right percentage. Most meals that are 99 pence come with about 10%, and if you're lucky it goes up to about 13-14, depending on if they're going to change to something else. Now I've got to break up the mince like I did the last time. So we're breaking up the mince as we did the last time. We're going to put everything into the one pan. Let that do that. I've already chopped onion. This time it's a red onion. Price difference, nothing whatsoever. I got the red onions for the same price as I got the white ones. So there is no difference other than we have a red onion instead of a clear one. Now I've got it in the pan with that, I really want to get in some seasoning. There is nothing in. The mince doesn't come with any, and you have to at least add something, as you would with all of the others, but they normally go more overboard and add a lot more. Now, what I've done is I've done some of the carrot in the microwave. This is 1 carrot. It's the same amount as what was in the last meal. This is still 9 pence worth of carrot, which will go into there. But we have a new item. We have a new item that's going in as veg. I forgot where I put this. So once again, we want this time to cook it all the way through, because it will not be going into the pressure cooker. So we're going to slow down the cooking and have it in the pan for a lot longer. I would have put it into the wok. If I put it into the wok, it would cook really fast. But to put it in the wok, I need to have full concentration on the pan and not turn my back on it. So that's going to go for a little while. I need it to cook through. Also with that, we're going to put the carrot, and I put water in, so the water has gone a little bit carroty colour, which is good because we're going to leave the water in when we put it in the pan. I have my gravy, so I'm going to add gravy in. Now, before, we didn't include water in the last meal as a weight. So that makes quite a lot of my meals completely unfair, because all meals that you get in the box always come with some type of sauce. And the sauce is made up of water, and water is quite a large, in most cases, a proportion of the meal weight. You can easily have 20% of your meal. I'm going to put in the new item. This is 25 grams of mushrooms, which frankly is 5 mushrooms. So we'll let that get some of the fat so we can get some of the coating. I chopped the mushrooms immensely finely. So technically getting one mushroom, cutting it in half. These are fairly small mushrooms. I still have quite a lot left. They're a 200-gram pullet, and I got them for 40p. So I have costed them at the higher price, but I only used 5, and they were 5 about this size. So there's not a lot, but I weighed it out 25 grams. Now, so we have, right now, we have the mince, the onion and the mushroom in the pan. So now we need the carrot to cook a little bit more. It's gone slightly softer than what it was. I'll put the gas back up. Now, I don't want to add too much more water. But we need to make a little bit of a gravy. Now, I've costed this to 99p. Which means that this is all the veg I can put in to get at that price. Yeah, that water didn't go far, it steamed itself out. So we've got some more water, which we're going to put in. We're going to add the gravy. And of course we're not going to do it thick, because we don't want the gravy thick. So with that, I'll use a fork, back of the fork, and just mix it in. Certainly not losing any meat over there. So I've dropped the gas down. The last item that's going with this is 1/4. I'll show you the box. So I got this puff pastry. It was £1.09. It's 320 grams. I would have got a different brand, but the place I went in, that was what they had at that price. So that was all I could get. But Aldi and Lidl do one which I think rolls out to be a lot bigger than that is, so it may be a little thinner, or it just has more in, or so I have 1/4 of it. Now this looks rather long. What I'm going to do is I have some margarine, because I don't have any butter, I only have margarine. So I will get a knife and I will coat the whole length of it with a bit of butter. Then I will fold it back on itself and flatten it down. So we'll show you the mince in the pan. Hopefully you can see. I don't have very much light here. It's more darker because we've put the gravy in. So that's that. So I have folded over like so, pressed it down, now if I had milk I would have put a bit of milk over the top of it, but I don't. So this, as it is going to go into the oven. Now, as of right now, I have no time for how long this is going to take in my oven. Right. So since I need the oven to do the next bit, we're going to turn the gas off for that and turn the power on for the oven. I will give it 12 minutes and I will keep a check on it. The other 3/4 of that will go into the fridge where it belongs, as will my butter. So, and back. So, as we say, this is something you do not get in a 99p meal. They don't offer this. There is no meal that provides you with puff pastry with a mince base for 99p. I have done the costing, I haven't done the percentage yet of how much is in, but that's why I said we're not including water. So the weight of this item is fairly low with the solid items. Right, so we have the solid items. Now these aren't liquids. In any meal that you get, there's always a liquid aspect that is weighted and you pay for. You're not getting more than 400 grams in any meal, even if it has gravy in it. You are paying for the whole meal as a full weight. Now, none of my meals have included, I didn't include the weight of the gravy in the last meal or the weight of water. So they have that, I haven't. That's why this meal looks a little light. In total, this meal comes to 312 grams. So it's pretty close to a 320 gram meal. But this meal does not exist. You cannot go to any pound shop and get any meal with a puff pastry lid on it for this price. So let us quickly look at the price. As I said, it should be half of the mince. So half of the mince would be 43p, 9p for the onion, because I only used half an onion, 70 grams, 9p for the carrot, 75 grams, and that was after it was peeled and chopped. I weighed it, so that is the real value. The meat, half the weight is 62 grams, which was 43p, and the puff pastry, which is 80 grams in weight, is 27p. In total, that's 99p for a 312 gram meal. You probably would make a little bit more gravy to put on it, and that would be added on to the thing. As I said, I haven't done the percentages yet, so whatever that comes to, you're still fairly going to have quite a high meat content even at the 62 grams of meat that's in there, because most of your meat item wouldn't go past 40 grams of meat. As we take it that I looked at the pound shop's spaghetti bolognese, and that only has 10% in a 400 gram portion, which is 40 grams. So we can lose some weight off the mince and add another item in and get the price back. So we have to wait for the puff pastry to come up, then we'll put it together and that will be the meal done. Fairly simple. Once again, we're following the same process as we did in the last meal. We've browned off the mince, we've added the onion, we put it in the pan. Before we put it all into the big pressure cooker, this time we're just leaving it into the small pan and we're cooking it all in there. So we see how it turns up and we'll come back when that's ready. Okay, we have now completed cooking. I did another half a mug of gravy to go with it, because I just want some gravy. So it actually weighs 150 grams, the gravy, because I weighed it. But for the solid items in, the mince is 20% of the meal. The onion is 23%, the carrot is 24%, the mushrooms are 8%, and the puff pastry is 25%. So, as we say, 99 pence I got this to come. You might be able to get the puff pastry cheaper, or you might be able to get more of it, because instead of 320 grams you may get more weight, so therefore it will make it a cheaper price. So let's turn around and I will show you what it looks like. This is the mince, carrot, mushroom, onion, and this is the puff pastry. I did 15 minutes, I did 12 minutes on this side, turned it over and did 3 minutes on the other. If I hadn't have folded it and cut it and placed it on top, then that side would have puffed up a lot more. But I just folded it. So that's what that looks like. So the carrot still has a bit of bite. Now with the gravy all added in, now that's what it looks like. We put some gravy onto the puff pastry. So hopefully you can see the mushrooms. You can make out, that's a bit of mushroom. Carrot, a bit of onion will be this here. So since I've only got one pair of hands and I need two to cut it, that's what the puff pastry looks like inside. Now normally we'd just put that on top of that, and that would be your complete dinner. So hopefully you can see that is fairly easy to make. Once again, like yesterday, we just added a few different ingredients in, added the puff pastry, and now we have a meal. So until next time, I hope you come and watch my cooking again.